back, WrestleRanters, to WrestleRant edition number 66. I'm, of course, your host, Bleacher Report, Bleacher Columnist, Level 2, Graham GSM Matthews, here tonight to review the August 20th edition of Monday Night Raw. Just occurred just a few moments ago. Here with my live reactions from the spectacular show here tonight. Now, as regards to the 66th edition of WrestleRant, the Devil's favorite number, I'm going to be highlighting the heel turns of Kane, Chris Jericho, and CM Punk, respectively, on tonight's show. All of the terms are which debatable. I'm going to break it down for you right now. Before I get down to the show, let me know I'm not wearing my patented WWE Championship belt here with me today because I taped a WrestleRant earlier in the day. Yes, I'm taping this following Monday Night Raw, not on Tuesday. Just to get my live reaction from the show, so I'm not going to be wearing a belt today, hence why I'm not wearing one today. So let's get right down to the show. To kick off the show, we have Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman explain their actions from SummerSlam the previous night. A solid promo from Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Obviously, Heyman did most of the talking, which is always a smart thing because he is always great on the mic. He is always great on the mic. Lesnar, for what it was worth, he was fine on the mic for the few words he spoke. And they also brought in Scott Armstrong. That dragged out a little bit, but other than that, I enjoyed the segment. Nobody interrupted, nothing went wrong, no Pure 9 brawl or anything along those lines. So I was glad to see this went unscathed, and Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar get out their final promo before Brock Lesnar takes another hiatus from the WWE. One thing I didn't understand, because later in the night he made a tout from Paul Heyman's account saying that Brock Lesnar has now once again quit the WWE. Now, apparently also Triple H's arm is broken again, the same arm. So Brock Lesnar broke Triple H's arm in April, then quit. He broke Triple H's arm again at SummerSlam, then the next night he quits. So I don't see how that's any different than it was in April. And again, Brock Lesnar quit in April, and I don't believe he was ever signed back to the organization, in storyline obviously, but quitting it just seemed dumb and unpredictable. Not unpredictable, it was actually kind of predictable because he needs to take time off until at least Survivor Series, maybe Royal Rumble, maybe WrestleMania when he faces Triple H again, but you can damn bet that this pay-per-view rivalry between Triple H and Brock Lesnar is not yet over. Then moving on to our first match tonight, the WWE Tag Team Champions Kofi Kingston and R-Truth and Sin Cara defeated the likes of the Primetime Players, respectively, Darren Young, Tess O'Neil, and Cody Rhodes. Always nice to see Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw. It's been a few weeks, I believe, but it's always nice to see him on Raw. Good action here, a lot of fun stuff. Pretty predictable with Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, and Sin Cara going over R-Truth and Primetime Players. I don't really see how it helps matters. Kind of meaningless. They should have had the heels go over here. Rhodes has gotten zero momentum as of late, so he kind of needed this win to stay relevant over Sin Cara, so I was kind of pissed that they didn't go over here, but nonetheless, it was a fun match and a good way to kick off Raw on a match note. Up next, we had Ryback versus two local athletes. You've seen this match numerous times. I don't understand. I don't understand why they went back to Ryback versus local athletes when just last week he faced JTG. So they could have easily had Ryback versus Jack Swagger, or Ryback versus JTG, or Ryback versus, I don't know, Jinder Mahal again, or something along those lines. But they went back to the jobbers instead. I don't get it. I don't know why they did it. Don't ask me. But it ended in disqualification because Ryback was attacked by Jinder Mahal from behind, who was later attacked by Ryback anyways. I do like the fact that they're doing something with Ryback, and they extended and exposed his feud to Raw. But I don't think anyone really cares because Ryback's been getting all the momentum. And I don't blame them for that because they want to make Ryback look unstoppable. But if it's up against someone like Jinder Mahal, then what purpose does it do? Jinder Mahal hasn't meant anything at all. Since he started his WWE career last May. So I just don't get this feud. But as long as it's giving Ryback something to do for the foreseeable future, then I'm all for it. But it just needs to be booked properly. Moving on, we had Alberto Del Rio versus Randy Orton. A good match. Randy Orton ended up going over here. We saw this a few weeks ago on SmackDown. Not all that good of a match. I was glad this one got a little more time and a little more action involved into it. Orton certainly looks like he's improved in the ring over the last week and a half. Definitely getting off that 60-day suspension. So I was glad to see him getting back in shape. I wasn't glad to see him pick up the win here. It was off a distraction from Sheamus, so I guess that's good. But still, Del Rio should have gotten the victory here. Pretty meaningless win for Orton unless he's being inserted in the world title picture. Orton versus Del Rio versus Sheamus and then champions. I'd like to see that, but off reports I've recently read that he's going to be taking time off to film the movie. I don't get it. But so hopefully it makes hopefully it makes sense soon going into this Friday Night SmackDown and going forward. Brodus Clay versus Damian Sandow, a feud that we've been getting for the last couple of weeks. I've been thoroughly enjoying. Damian Sandow was able to defeat Brodus Clay here, just by holding the tights. It was a decent match, nothing all that great, nothing terrible either, obviously. So I was glad that we got this on Raw instead of at SummerSlam because it felt more like a Raw match. Didn't last all that long. And then following the contest, Brodus Clay attacked Damian Sandow from behind and gave him the splash and whatnot. So Damian Sandow gets his win here, keeps his undefeated streak alive, while Brodus Clay also gets his momentum because over the last few weeks he hasn't gotten any momentum whatsoever since Raw 1000. So I was glad to see that he got somewhat momentum and he stays relevant. So it's a win-win situation here. HBK promo up next, discussing the events at SummerSlam between Brock Lesnar and Triple H. Strong promo from Shawn Michaels here. He's always dramatic. He's always involved in what he's saying in every single one of his promos. He almost shed a tear at one point during his promo, so I'd love to see that. Of course, it was via satellite, so he wasn't live, just to clear that up. But yeah, a very strong promo from HBK. I don't know if he's going to be further involved in the storyline between Triple H and Brock Lesnar. I doubt it. But it's always nice to see Shawn Michaels on Raw. What else? I don't think he's going to be wrestling another match, for those of you asking. I don't see that happening, obviously. But he made it very, very believable that Triple H could be, retiring for good. Even though a lot of us know that he won't be retiring, obviously. He's going to be coming back. But you know what I mean. HBK made this promo very, very believable. So props to him for always doing such a great job with his promos. Up next, David Otunga versus The Big Show. Kind of random match. David Otunga had a mystery opponent. Ended up being The Big Show. Big Show squashed David Otunga. Obviously, Big Show needed to gain some of his heat back after losing at SummerSlam. But why David Otunga? I mean, I understand a face local athlete, or not a face local athlete, maybe someone from WWE Superstars, but they're both heels, so it didn't make much sense to me. Because they were kind of cheering Big Show after he dominated David Otunga, so that didn't make much sense to me. But other than that, it was effective in getting Big Show, getting his heat back, and just making him look dominant. So I just wanted to see him get booed, not cheered, for beating up David Otunga. So that didn't make much sense. Speaking of things that didn't make much sense, we had Kane tagging with Zack Ryder, former foes, against the team of Intercontinental Champion The Miz and Daniel Bryan. This match went to a no contest after Kane went berserk, chased off Miz and Bryan, and attacked Zack Ryder. Yes, Kane attacked his own tag team partner, Zack Ryder. So there's two sides to this coin. I was pissed that Zack Ryder was buried again. Glad that he was featured in the show, and glad they actually mentioned the dissension between the two teams. They mentioned the NXT history, the US title history between Bryan and Miz, so I was glad to see that aspect of it. Obviously, they were mentioning the history between Kane and Ryder, so they didn't completely disregard that. And they had Kane, acknowledge the fact that the feud was still going on, and he chokeslammed Ryder, but I just don't want to see Ryder get buried. I guess Kane can only go in here, because he's never on television anyway. But I guess I wouldn't call this a Kane heel turn. I see him more of a tweener anyway, so he was never really a full-fledged face over the last, since he came back last December. So this is really nothing major, but at least it's, sparking some interest in Kane's dying character over the last few months. Moving forward, we had a Divas Battle Royal, which was won by Caitlyn. She's now the new #1 contender to the Divas Championship, held by Layla. The match was completely throwaway, obviously. There was a botch at the end by Caitlyn, when she tried to eliminate Eve. Eve was my pick for this one. Eve versus Layla would have been a great match. Caitlyn, maybe not so much, but Caitlyn is a fresh face in the Divas title picture, and maybe she takes the belt off Layla. Who knows? We'll see. But at least the Divas champion, and the Divas title as a whole is getting some focus on Raw. So I'm glad to see that. Chris Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler in a contract match. If Dolph Ziggler won, Chris Jericho would be fired from the WWE. If Chris Jericho won, he would become Mr. Money in the Bank. This is another great match, not as good as their encounter from SummerSlam, but another very awesome match, especially for a match on Raw that got over 10 minutes. But a very strong showing from both guys. The most shocking part, obviously, would have to be Dolph Ziggler winning clean with a zigzag. No help from Vicky or anything. I was extremely shocked to see that. Obviously not shocked to see Chris Jericho leave, because he's going to be leaving and going on tour with Ozzy anyway. That was expected. But I was extremely shocked to see Ziggler win clean. This is a match I wanted to see at SummerSlam, not for free on Raw. But I guess it makes sense if you have Dolph Ziggler versus Jericho in a rubber match when Jericho comes back, either at the Royal Rumble or in time for WrestleMania. We'll see. But if Dolph Ziggler cashes in successfully his Money in the Bank briefcase before Jericho comes back, he can be world champion. Jericho can win the Rumble, have that match at Mania. It just practically books itself. Hashtag book it. So you know what I mean. Hopefully that scenario ends up coming true. I highly doubt it, but it's a dream feud just waiting to happen. So as long as this feud is waiting for Jericho when he comes back, but it's another win-win situation. Great match, great segment, and also following the match, Chris Jericho attacked Dolph Ziggler with the Money in the Bank briefcase. The way he was smirking and some of the boos that he received, it seemed like he was turning heel on his way out, like a double turn was in the works. That was a bit strange, but then on the way out, he was clapping hands with the fans, so I wasn't exactly sure what was going on there, and he was being cheered on the way out. So I'm not exactly sure either. Maybe he's just being treated as a tweener. But nonetheless, I hope Dolph Ziggler stays heel because he's money to heel anyway. And Jericho just recently turned face, so maybe when he comes back, he's going to be cheered, so he might as well just stay face anyway. To close the show, we had a promo involving the likes of the WWE Champion CM Punk, John Cena, and Jerry the King Lawler regarding the WWE Championship match at SummerSlam. I'm sorry, now the champions next month. John Cena refused to call CM Punk the best in the world, which meant that John Cena won't be earning a WWE title match at Night of Champions. He probably will anyway, but for right now he won't be getting it. And CM Punk forced Jerry Lawler to apologize to him, and shortly thereafter, Jerry Lawler refused to call CM Punk the best in the world as well, and CM Punk kicked Jerry Lawler on the way out. Sure, you can call this CM Punk's heel turn. He'll probably be cheering his entrance next week. We'll have to see, but I did like the fact that they're slowly building towards Punk's heel turn. I like him more of a tweener, but I guess they're slowly building towards his full-fledged heel turn. I love that. But as far as the promo itself, a very strong segment from Punk and Cena. I love Cena on the mic when he's serious, especially when he's in the ring with CM Punk. Those promos last year, building up to the matches in Money in the Bank at SummerSlam, were amazing. So hopefully we get more of those matches going to this year's Night of Champions. That should be a great match. Probably Cena will win the title. He mentioned that he's never been able to beat Punk over the last year. It's going to be in his hometown. So I highly do predict that John Cena will win the WWE Championship in his hometown of Boston come Night of Champions. But I'll rant about that later. Nonetheless, this segment was solid, a good closer to the show, and definitely leads more questions to be asked going to next week regarding if CM Punk is heel or not, what's going on with Kane, what happens next with Chris Jericho now that he's fired, what happens next with Triple H and Brock Lesnar. So a lot of things remain to be seen. I'm certainly looking forward to what happens next on Monday Night Raw. I'm excited. Overall, a good show, pretty good show. Maybe not as good as SummerSlam, obviously, but it was a solid show to say the least. A lot of good action, a lot of good promos. I think the promos outshine the in-ring action this week. But as I just said, a lot of suspense going forward. It dragged on at points. I think that was the main disappointment with this week's show. I mean, that's going to be a common thing going forward now that it's 3 hours. But it just felt like it dragged at times. And I guess we're just going to have to get used to that. But nonetheless, it was pretty good overall. I was thoroughly enjoying it most parts. And hopefully they keep the momentum going forward for the rest of the summer as well as the rest of 2012. So I thank you guys for watching. I highly do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe and all that good stuff. And this is GSM signing out. Till next time, guys.